Jazz clubs around the world are sitting empty, but jazz musicians will always have great music and stories to share. And since jazz fans aren't able to get out to hear great music, we will deliver jazz to you at home. Welcome to Jazz Home Delivery with Tim Tamashiro. Well, hi everybody. Tim Tamashiro here, your host for Jazz Home Delivery. Very happy to be with you here this evening for, oh boy, it's been many days that we've been here with the JazzYYC TD International Jazz Days. This is the virtual festival going on for 28 days in a row, but the best thing is that I'm getting a chance to be able to talk to such amazing people and meet wonderful people from right across Canada. My guests today are two wonderful guests, Dominique Fils-Aime and Jeremy Gignoux. And Dominique is in Montreal where the sun is setting and it's blue hour. And she's going to be singing some songs for us this evening. And Jeremy's right here in Calgary. Very excited to talk to him as well. And he's going to tell you about what it's like to play fiddle on top of a car. All three of us are joining each other here right now. And here they are. Here's everybody. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
It's like it's our own little chat party here. Welcome to Jazz Home Delivery.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, indeed. Jeremy, you are have been busy gigging, and you're one of the very few musicians in the world, I feel, that has been out actually gigging. Well, so that's exciting. I'm going to be excited to talk to you about what that experience is all about. And we're also going to hear about your brand new album that that is recorded, but you're waiting for the right time.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. I'm going to go and speak with Dominique to start off the show. So excuse us. Enjoy listening in to our conversation, okay?
I will. See you soon.
Thanks. Dominique, how are you, my dear? This is
I'm
wonderful.
Great. How are you?
I am very good, thank you. And it's I pointed out that it's blue hour in Montreal now, where the sky is dark blue.
Yeah, it's already getting darker by the minute.
No, it's wonderful.
I see you. It's still sunny.
It is, and that's the weird. You've been to Calgary, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But the interesting thing about living in Calgary is that the sun stays out till, way past like.
Yeah, it's true.
9,
It stays
10 o'clock.
much later. You're lucky. You get more sun.
We're further north.
Yes. Good for you.
So you have been in Calgary. In fact, your very first tour ever took place at the very first stop on the tour, in fact, and you were at Lolita's, our little gem of a jazz spot. Tell us about that experience.
Lolita's Lounge. Lolita's Lounge was amazing. It was last summer. It was our first Canadian tour. First time I was actually visiting Canada too, like as a person. Like I'd never really traveled within Canada. I would always, if I were to leave, I would leave to go outside of Canada.
Yeah.
So the very first stop was Calgary, and we were welcomed in the most beautiful way. The staff was amazing. Hello, staff at Lolita's Lounge. They were amazing. The crowd was amazing. It was very warm and we were close together. There's this kind of intimate atmosphere at Lolita's Lounge.
Yeah.
That was totally my vibe. I just loved it. And it was with the band, we still laugh. We make comments about how everything that is, like when we have a show that is not, so great or the crowd is not really into it, we're always like, well, we're not in Calgary, it's not Lolita's.
Whoa,
you guys are a great reference.
This is something. Yeah. This is something that we have to be really proud of. Is that you have that experience?
You should be. It's a very, very welcoming city, and my aunt was there too. Hi, auntie. So it was.
Does she live? Does your auntie live
like I was
here?
Home. She does.
Hey, well, you have no excuse to come back to Calgary at some point in time.
I don't. I have no excuse, and I will be back. I hope I'll be back at Lolita's.
There you go. Well, maybe even a bigger place. You're having a lovely career so far. A little bit bigger,
it
right?
doesn't mean better.
That's true. That's very true. Yes. You told me that you love your little couch that you're sitting on there, but you really also like to get outside to enjoy nature, and that you've chosen a specific tree outside one of your windows that you go and visit daily for a very specific reason. Tell me what the reason is.
Yes, and I've been encouraging my friends to do the same. So just to be sure that I go out at least 5 or 10 minutes per day minimum, I go check out this tree that is right now blooming, that is starting to, the leaves are starting to grow. And every day I make a tiny time lapse or I take a picture so that by the end of summer, I'll be able to do the time lapse, like by the end of spring, really, to have a time lapse. And I find that it's a great way to slow our pace down because there's a lot of the rhythms have changed right now. And the only ones who are not traumatized are the tree because they still feel like we're running around, and rushing everywhere. So it's like I'm trying to sink myself closer to nature's rhythm and to remember that they're not still, they're just moving slowly. And it's just like us. We're not still, we're just slower right now. And it's nice to see this beautiful fluorescent green. You know how pretty the leaves are at first?
I love
They're
that.
always beautiful, but that's like a magical color.
And it doesn't last long enough, does it?
That's exactly why. I remember being younger, and if you don't pay attention in spring, I remember looking up and being, how are all these leaves out? Where was I? I felt like I didn't look for 2 seconds and they all bloomed like completely. And since then, I remember telling myself, I need to pay attention in spring to see it happen, because otherwise it just passes before your eye without you even noticing that it's happening. So now I pay close attention, and the trees, that time lapse allows me to do that. So everyone who has a cute tree by the window or in front of their house, I encourage you to go take a picture per day and within a month.
Yeah, and this is your challenge, is that it's a spring challenge, right?
To slow down to the pace of the trees.
Slow down to the pace of the trees. That's really, that's a magical way.
Maybe we should write a song.
Oh, we've just gotten an idea. You just got an idea. You have to take 100% credit for that.
Teamwork.
What is it that is so special about slowing down? You're a big proponent of mental health and for people to be able to take care of ourselves, not only our bodies but our minds. Is nature your way to be able to go and to experience greater mental health?
Definitely. There's something about nature, being in nature, and even within the city, we forget, like, it's not city versus nature, and it's not nature versus us. Like, we are nature, first of all, so we can't dissociate ourselves from it. And the city has little pieces of nature everywhere, that, like the tree in the streets or the park. So there's so many ways to still remain connected to nature. And personally, I know it's always done me a great deal of, it makes me feel great. It really brings me a lot of peace, and a lot of, it helps me keep grounded in moments where we can let ourselves get caught up by the rhythm of life that is not our rhythm necessarily. Everyone has their own rhythm, and it's like the city has this really frantic rhythm that we're trying to keep up with, but we don't have to. We're allowed to find our own pace and to make sure our well-being is really being cared for in a way, as much physically than mentally. And it is the Mental Health Awareness Month. So it's a perfect time, I find, with everything that's going on. People are already feeling a bit anxious, and it's a perfect time to learn to take care of our mental health as much as our physical health.
And part of that, part of your love of nature and of taking care of yourself came from that a tree in your mother's neighborhood. You were telling me this lovely story about this tree in your mom's neighborhood, but it really had a profound effect on you. Tell us about this particular tree.
It really did. It's just that this tree, and there's quite a few in my mom's neighborhood, but the one specifically that was on the corner of my street was just so huge. When they're just so big, you can't even put your arms around it. Like, even if you were 3 of you guys, like, you're still not, and being younger, it was even more impressive, and realizing how big it is, and that the bigger it is the older it is. It made me think, you're so much older than even the houses. You're taller than the houses, and you're older than the houses, and you were there before us, you'll be there after us. And it's just so, there's something huge about it. There's something very, very magnificent, I guess, in how big and powerful and strong and steady those trees are. And I've always felt like they were a good guide for us to remember their they're our buddies in the city because they are people too. And we look at them like they're still, but they're always moving, just at a different pace from ours. So it brings us back to this pace concept of slowing down and really taking the time to look at them and admire their presence amongst us.
The older trees, I always feel like they have a little bit more, they have wisdom.
They do. I think so too. And the younger ones look like they're little cheeky, you know, like little cheeky trees. I love it.
That is incredible. You've prepared a couple of wonderful songs for us, and they share a certain theme. How would you describe the theme?
The theme would be magic, because I think we forget that there's magic all around sometimes. Like, we'll call it different things. And our power to create magic and to have an impact on the world around us, and vice versa, the impact that we can receive from different things, from music especially. To me, it's one of the most magical tools out there. It's the tool that allows you to not only express yourself, but you can also reach and connect with people. And you can, at the same time, remind yourself of the power that you have. So I feel like these are the themes that are present in those two songs.
And the first song is a French song. Tell us about this particular song and what we might listen for.
So it's called Ensorcelé, which means to be under a spell, really. And it's about, it's just one of the most beautiful French songs in my personal opinion. And especially this version has, like, the artist who made it, called Daniel Bélanger. He created that song way back, like a good 20 years ago. It was kind of rock. It was already a great song. And then he did it over only his guitar and his voice not so long ago. And this is the version that I'm inspiring myself from to do this homage in a way to this song. And it's, to me, one of the most beautiful French songs that were written lately.
I'm eager to dive in, and I'm sure the audience is as well. So I'm going to set this song up. Thank you very much for recording it for us. Dominique Fils-Aime is part of the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days. This is the virtual festival, and we're very excited to play this video of Ensorcelé.
Tous les autres jours que je peux sans repos. Jamais, jamais, jamais.
There's Dominique Fils-Aime. Ensorcelé.
Yes.
You're under a spell. You put us under a spell with that song, and there's one more coming up with more spells.
More spells everywhere.
Spells everywhere. We got nothing but spells. It's wonderful. Meditation is an important part of your life, and there are many types of meditation. I'm a big fan of meditation myself, and I certainly do feel like it's beneficial in so many ways. In fact, it feels like you're under a spell when you're meditating.
Yeah.
I just made that connection. So tell me what type of meditation you go on a regular basis.
Contemplation is my favorite form of meditation because I didn't know it was meditation. It's like we always think meditation is sitting down and having to be quiet. And I remember thinking when I was younger, this is so boring. I don't want to sit down in silence and try to get rid of my thoughts, you know? And one thing, though, that I always liked doing when I would go in nature, especially, was, for example, the center of a flower. Just look at it from close because there's so much detail. Like from afar, it looks like one color sometimes. But when you start looking, you see all the little dots and the center and everything that's in it. And that's when I realized that's what contemplation, I had heard about it before, but I didn't know that was it. It's just taking the time to pay attention to something and to really take in all the beauty that can be present in nature and in the world, and taking a moment to appreciate it. When they say stop and smell the roses, I think it's pretty much the same thing, just in a different way. So I like to encourage my friends when they say, oh, I don't like meditation. I was like, well, you do it every day. You don't even realize. Like there's different types. You can be walking and meditating and taking a second to look at something, or you see a bee and you start observing it. You're meditating without even realizing you're doing it. So
you're slowing your mind
this
down.
is how I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, slowing the mind down. I find myself often just wandering around the neighborhood, looking at the flowers and the trees, and talking to the birds and the bees, literally.
Oh, I love it.
I'm always talking to some sort of an insect, and I think it's funny how I don't know about when you were growing up, but when I was growing up, if you saw a bee, everybody freaked out. It's a bee, And now we see bees and we know how precious they are to the world. So it's almost, you see a bee and then you're going almost like, oh, hello, bee. Can I get you anything? Can I get you a coffee?
You need water? Are you okay?
Can you eat some water?
Sure.
Why, Dominique, why is meditation so important to you?
I think it's really when we're talking about the pace of life and the city, I think that's what it always felt unnatural to me to rush that's why I'm always late, I guess. But it's really about finding the time for yourself and creating your own schedule and your own pace of life to not feel constantly rushed, because otherwise you feel like you're just running through life and you didn't see anything around. You're on some goal, but what about, when they say it's not about where you go, it's about the road, about getting there and like the beauty that can be on the way there. So meditation brings that back, it quiets down the mind. It also strips out all the things that feel superflux or superficial. It brings you back to the core and the most essential. Like, I'm breathing, I need a glass of water. Like, it's often the only things that come out of it. Those are, I need a hug, and like just being aware of what our true needs can be and reconnecting with them and letting go of the things that when you'll be 90, you won't remember, because sometimes it's about that too, reminding ourselves like what really matters right now and why am I waking up in the morning?
Yeah, you're in the moment. You're in the moment, and that's the only thing that we have. Who was it that said? I can't remember exactly. There is no past, there is no present. You only have there is no past and there is no future. The only thing you actually own is this moment.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. How does it help? How does calming your mind like that help you create art, whether it's music or whether it's painting? Is this something that you utilize in your processes for art?
I would say that art itself is a form of meditation. So it's also a way to me, it's a healing process. It feels like the most soothing way to connect with ourselves and to bring something. I feel like if it makes me feel like I'm healing myself, it's also possibly healing others, which is a gift that I'm giving myself and the world at the same time. So that really makes it worth it in every sense of the word. Like it's worth my time and it's worth all the healing that it can provide for myself and for anyone who would connect with it.
Yeah. And because you say you love to bring love and light to the world, and you can do that through your creative processes.
I do feel like it's the best way to do that. And it's also the most peaceful way to connect and try, not want to change people's mind, but bring new perspectives into someone's mind. Because not only is it a therapy, but it's also a dream. You can put intentions in your music and in your art. So if I put my dream of a world that is more peaceful and that is more united and more empathic, it's a perfect place to put it. And people will hear it not as, oh, she's preaching, or, or I'm not fighting for it. I'm just sending you little waves of sound and hoping that the message and the intention that I put in it will get through to the other part of you that connects with frequencies, really.
I feel like the people could use many more of you.
Thank you. We can use all of you guys, all of us.
Well, just to be conscious of it and aware, and to put your mission into the words to bring love and light to the world. That's admirable.
Oh, thank you. Well, I feel like it's just my nature. I'm just lucky to have been surrounded with it. So when you feel like you receive so much love and so much light, you want to show everyone how awesome life can be when you're surrounded by it and living for it.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. You have prepared one more song for us, and in keeping with the theme,
yes,
spells. Tell us about why you chose it. This is the one.
Nina. Yes, it's I Put a Spell on You from Nina Simone. And I love Nina. I love this song. I love all of it. I don't even feel like I could. It's just, everyone loves it, don't we all? It's just one of those songs. It's magical, literally. So not only the lyrics, but all of it and the way she would interpret it. So I wanted to create my own version of it, and kind of another homage to someone who's influenced me greatly in just the person that she was and the strength that she had within her.
What is it? Let me put this differently. How did you create this? Did you record this multi-track and then sing the main part for us on video?
Exactly. That's what I do. I do to me, the back vocals, they're like instrumental, since I don't play any instrument besides my voice. Mm-hmm. So I use that to create the tracks, and then I layered it with the leads on top.
It really is special. So in keeping with a spell, putting a spell on you, we have our friend Dominique Fils-Aime here now with I Put a Spell on You, courtesy of the JazzYYC TD International Jazz Days Virtual Festival. Here we go.
We shared this to a page.
Put a spell on you. Because you're mine, yeah. You better stop the things you do, the things you do. I tell you, I ain't lying. No, I can't stand it. That's why I put a spell on you. I put a spell on you. That's why I put a spell on you.
Dominique, you've done a wonderful job for us. What
Thank
is
you.
You've ended both of your videos with a symbol.
It's a heart.
That's a heart?
Yes.
I didn't know
Can you
that, but
see
it
it
is a
now?
heart. Of course it
It's
is.
a tiny little heart.
Thank you. You've given us more love and light than we can stand.
Oh, thank you.
So wonderful.
Never enough.
It's been so much. It's been so much fun talking to you. But we have our friend Jeremy just waiting,
Yay.
just in the other room, just on the other side of the country. Do you mind if I go and speak with him?
Of course not.
Oh, we love it. So you just stay right there and enjoy our conversation, okay?
I will.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Where's there? There's Jeremy. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm really good. This is Jeremy Gignoux, and he is in Calgary here with his wonderful violin. And you've been gigging recently, but which is almost odd to say, but it's a special kind of gig. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So, well, it's the coin name is Curbside Concerts. So it's an idea that Matt Masters, the country singer, had. The concept is he's got a stage on his car.
Yeah.
And he goes to people's home. He parks on the by the sidewalk and plays a show for them.
Yeah.
And so he's hired me to do the same thing with the fiddle. So I got a friend to build a stage on top of my car.
Yeah.
And then show up to people at Curbside and play a little show for them.
People must just kind of go, wow, I am just drinking this in because I haven't gotten the name. I haven't gotten the opportunity to be able to take in live music. Is that what you feel?
Yeah, there's definitely like people, really appreciate just the fact that it's live, that there's a connection, and it's and not only it's live, it's like
Yeah.
I mean live right now, but there's the screen. Well, that way there's no screen. There's just the adequate central social distance. That's why we're on the car too. It's not only it's a stage and it's kind of funny, but also it allows for a social distance, because when people go on the sidewalk, then we're still far enough that it's allowed, really, that it's safe.
Yeah, and it's so I have to describe what it looks like. So what kind of car do you drive again?
It's a Prius.
So you drive a Prius, and on top
Yeah.
of the car, one of your friends has rigged a piece of pieces of plywood and lumber. So that do you drive there with that on top of your car?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I keep it on. It's there right now. On. It's funny. People when they walk by or they drive by, they're like,
What's that for? They're kind of wondering,
Yeah.
is he going to get a Christmas tree or something like that?
yeah. It's like, why would you have this on? And actually, the funny thing is, one time I was going to a gig and somebody honks and like friendly honk and it's Matt, who was also
wow.
driving
Matt
and
Masters.
recognized the contraption. And because it's very you see from afar.
How many curbside concerts have you done so far?
I think I've done about 10.
10 so far.
Yeah.
So would you have done 10 gigs in the last couple of weeks in normal?
In normal? No, probably not. No, I don't know. I don't know what normal is anymore, actually. Like usually I do like 1 or 2 gigs a week, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The rest working, and so I mean, there's busier times, but like this is, yeah, way more than I mean, especially these days. Like it's just incredible to be able to play live.
Yeah.
Uh,
And the gigs don't show up booked months in advance either. I mean, when I was talking to you on the phone the other day, you got a text and says, "Hey, can you come and do a gig at 5 o'clock or
right.
something like that?" Right?
Yes,
That day.
it's often like this. Yeah. Last minute or like the day before. Yeah, it's that's why also I have my state on my car so that it's ready to go anytime.
There you go. Well, that's wonderful. And you have your violin. Do you call your instrument a violin or a fiddle?
Well, that's a good question.
I don't want to. I want to make sure that I have the right name for it.
Well, sometimes I call it a fiddle-in actually, because yeah, I like to think myself in between fiddle and violin. Like I'm classically trained, and I definitely like beautiful sound and intricate music. But I also like the rawness of the fiddle. I like yeah, I also I play classical music, but I also play fiddle music, like old time country music.
Yeah.
I like to play sometimes one, sometimes the other, sometimes kind of in between.
A hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah. All about hybrid.
You have your fiddle in. I had to think about it there for a second to kind of combine the words. You have your fiddle in with you right there. Would you care to play a song for us?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, what's the name of this song that you're going to play for us?
So this song is called Rise. It's actually one of the few songs that I wrote for solo violin, let's call it.
Okay.
So that seemed appropriate to play here by myself. It is on my upcoming album, and I think we'll talk about that.
We are going to talk about that, yeah.
It uses a technique that is used in a Bach solo violin piece. That it's a way to kind of like play two voices at once with a lead one and an accompaniment, I'm using that for a. I love to use that to accompany myself. It's a quite of a challenge, but it's fun too.
And you play rhythm and melody at the exact same time, in almost a percussive but a melodic way at the same time. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could say so. It's maybe not so. It's softer than percussive. It's like well, I guess you'll see. There's definitely a melody that's sustained, and then there's the accompaniment / bass line that's more staccato.
Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. I tell you what. You go and get your violin. Sorry, I have to get this straight, and I just want to make sure that we have everything all set. You get set, and I'm going to introduce you. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
This is quite the setup. I'm having a hard time remembering if you're playing a violin or a fiddle. But this one is a violin. Jeremy Gignoux is preparing now. He's got his instrument ready. We're having him play here at the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days. This is part of the virtual festival. I'm very excited to have you play. He's ready. Here we go. This is Rise. way. That's the song Rise, courtesy of our friend Jeremy Gignoux. It defies logic to watch you play that song in that way.
Oh, well, good. That's good.
It seems that was witchcraft. You put a spell on me. Dominique is laughing right now.
I didn't even know about it.
It doesn't even make sense how you can create those rhythms and play that melody at the same time. It just doesn't even make sense to me.
Well, I mean, it's so I'm just doing, double stops.
Okay.
But like just just for a moment, and then go back to just one string. So my bow is really just like shifting, just like this, dum, 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 just a little angle to be able to catch the lower string. And
you're too modest. You're too modest because that is witchcraft, as far as I'm concerned.
It is totally witchcraft.
It's nicest witchcraft. And although I know it's simply taboo, yeah. Put a little Frank Sinatra in there. Jeremy, tell me about your first album that you have coming out. It is recorded, correct? But it's just not manufactured yet.
No, not quite yet. I'm trying to figure that out because as the first album, it's just I'm going one step at a time and figuring out how things work. And every time there's there's this I had no idea that I had to do. So it's recorded. It's got 3 other musicians with me. Jason Vallo, that I'm sure you all know at JazzYYC on bass. There's Nathan and Godfrey on guitar, resonator guitar, and Wayne Garrett on guitar as well.
2 guitars and bass and violin.
That's right, yeah. And there's a few little changes too, but that's the main band. Yes,
that's the making of Manouche Jazz. However, it's not Manouche.
Not quite. It's definitely inspired by it, and that's how this project started. I always played a little bit of Manouche, and then I just wanted to do that again.
Yeah.
So some musicians that I knew liked it, and we started jamming, and then so it's all compositions, and the compositions definitely get inspired from that old swing, but also from other things from. While I was preparing for this and going over the songs, seeing which one I could play from the album, I realized how anchored in the harmony is very classical in a way. But it's also got some folk influence. The fiddle, the old time kind of the raw folk, a little bit of Eastern European influence.
Wow. You've got a lot of flavors in this.
Sorry?
And you have a lot of flavors in this album, and these are all brand new songs that you've composed for this album. That's
right. Yes, it's all original. Yes.
What will you call the album, or do you have a name for it yet?
It's called Synacoustic. So Syna like movement. I worked a lot with dance, with decidedly jazz dance works, and always fascinated with dance and movement in general, and so it's kind of like a reference to that, and acoustic because music. Right?
It's cool. I'm really looking forward to it. But there are a lot, like you said. I mean, being your first album, you're learning that there are lots of steps that you haven't anticipated, and I can only imagine what it's like right now, Jeremy, to be able to be, looking for a CD manufacturer or maybe a vinyl manufacturer during the time of COVID. Everything would be shut down, isn't it?
Well, yes, actually, yeah. There's one that's shut down, or they're operating. They're doing less. Less. So yeah, it's not only it's my first one, but also I have to cope with that. But it's kind of a way to take your time to do it, and I'm eager to share it with everyone, but I'm also want to do it well. So that's kind of as Dominique was saying. So
yeah, make sure that she just gave you the heart.
I saw that.
It's lovely. When you were growing up in France, you told me that you watched a lot of classic movies, like especially from the 1960s. But you're influenced greatly by Charlie Chaplin, by Jack Lemmon, by actors like Hitchcock films, and that inspired you in maybe the name of this next song, which is Technicolor. Tell me about the Technicolor.
Technicolor. Well, wait. Do you want about the song?
Yeah. Does it have?
Yeah. Well,
was your upbringing and your love of classic films? Is this kind of the inspiration behind this song?
Yeah. I think when I first wrote it, I was just kind of like playing with like chord changes. That was like actually a very harmony driven song, and then I realized it was actually really lyrical, and it kind of had a little bit of the flavor of old films. For a very long time, the default title of that song was Film Noir, in reference to like the Maltese Falcon, or there's a 40s films, but it's actually it's not noir at all. It's not, it's actually a pretty positive song.
Pretty colorful song, it sounds like.
So that was it was a very bad title. That's what technical. No. It's more like a Technicolor film, too bright colors, even.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of starts a little dark with like double bass on the bow and with the violin, and then comes the guitars. You'll have to imagine that when I play.
Oh yes, yes.
Hopefully I'll be able to bring in the color by myself. But
in your technique on this, you surprised us tremendously on your last number in that you're playing that pulsing heartbeat of the bass line. On this one, will you be playing other notes as well that defy logic for a brain like mine?
Well, I'll be using a little bit of that technique because it comes really handy, and then just like in general, trying to emulate chords with a melodic instrument. So with the violin, I'm lucky to be able to play two or more strings at once that can do a chord, but also like just some arpeggiated lines, just to try my best to. That was kind of the challenge to song by myself. Is try to emulate the band, or at least the harmony, and so. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what you have in store for us. So you go and grab your violin, or maybe a fiddle at this point in time. I don't know. Jeremy Gignoux is part of our JazzYYC TD International Jazz Days, the virtual festival, and he's prepared something very special for us, where he's going to be playing some chords. It's a bit of a romantic song, inspired from the movies of the 1940s and 50s. And Jeremy is ready now. Take it away, maestro.
Sorry.
Jeremy Gignoux, holy cow. You have surprised us again, my friend. You have surprised us once again with a lovely piece. And
thank you.
As I was listening to it, it literally did feel like we're in a dramatic movie of sorts.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that got through, because otherwise I would have to change the title again.
Yeah. No, you don't have to. You've done a wonderful job.
It's a good title this time. All right.
And once again, you cast a spell on me, because I was wondering how the heck you do all of that with one instrument and one bow. But what a wonderful job you have done. Thank you so much for being on the show, and good luck with the album coming up.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me.
Very excited for you. I'm going to bring our friend Dominique in here one more time. There's all three of us on the screen once again. Wasn't that wonderful, Dominique?
That was. It's crazy how many sounds can be done with one, and playing two different sets of at once. I've never seen that before. That was really fun. And I saw the movie. I understand why it was film noir too, because there is a bit of that, film noir kind of vibe in it. I would see it in some movies from back in the days.
Yeah.
Hitchcock would have loved it.
After all.
What was that, Jeremy?
Maybe I should go back to that title after all.
Oh, maybe.
They all work.
It's not. It's not official until it's actually on an album that you have 1,000 copies of.
Yeah. So I still have time to make up my mind.
You still do have time. Thank you both for being on the show. Dominique, you were a wonderful guest, and thank you very much for your talent and for your love and light. And for this. I love this. I love this.
Yay, little heart.
Yes, it's love.
Do it. Is it?
Yeah.
It's very sweet. Yeah, there you go. Isn't that great? It's love. It's
I'll practice. I'll have to watch again anyway to be, because I
think some people see it like a money, but no, it's love.
No, it's love. It's love. So we'll send out lots of love to everybody. Thanks again to you both for being on the show. I'm going to go and say thank you to our sponsors as well, who have helped bring this virtual jazz festival to you right across the country. I'm Tim Tamashiro. I'll be back again tomorrow night for another Jazz Home Delivery. Here's thanks to the sponsors. JazzYYC would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support that has helped bring this virtual jazz festival to you. TD, Jazz Home Delivery, the City of Calgary, Alberta Foundation for the Arts, the Government of Canada, Calgary Arts Development, Inglewood BIA, CKUA Radio, Calgary Public Library, CADME, the Coalition for Music Education, Music Monday, Studio Bell, home of the National Music Center, Decidedly Jazz Danceworks, and the Music Mile. Thank you. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, please subscribe to this page, and if you want to receive more information about this or any of JazzYYC's other upcoming programming, please visit jazzyyc.com and become a member.